Okay, welcome back to another Mario Kart World video. So, in this one, I wanted to do a tier list of the items within this game, because I think it's fair to say that the items in this game are, I don't know, people will have opinions on them because of the fact the meta in this game, I feel like, is different in terms of what it was in different Mario Kart games, in terms of what items are good, which ones maybe aren't quite as good. So yeah, in the background I've got some online knockout tour footage that I recorded, and I think I also have me unlocking mirror mode. I don't know, just yeah, that's the footage in the background. But yeah, I'm just gonna be talking about the different items. So I'm gonna start off with the single banana peel, a classic of Mario Kart. And by the way, the ratings that I am going for is just the classic of S, A, B, C, and D. And to me, the single banana is a C tier. It's not the worst thing ever in that it's good for defense, I guess. You know, if you get a red shell coming at you, you can use it to defend yourself. But yeah, it's not much really needs to be said about it. It's just a banana, and it's kind of just, I think, mainly used as defense. I suppose you could set up a trap with it on like a blind corner or anything like that. So it has its uses, but it's not that great. It's just, it's fine. It's a C. Next up we have the blooper, and I'm gonna put that straight into D tier. Simple reasoning being is that I feel like it's only really there as like a difficult item or like an actual punishing item people who haven't played the game before. And so if you get hit with a blooper, you kind of, you know, just, you don't know where to go. But I think as soon as you've played Mario Kart like more than once, I think it's fair to say, you kind of know where you're going, and you can kind of just navigate around without really caring when you've had a blooper affect you. I will say it's still more effective than what it has been in like previous games, I would say. Like, I feel like it covers more of the screen. But even still, I feel like, you know, I kind of know my way around the track to the point where, like, I kind of just don't really get affected by it at this point. And certainly if I get one, whether that's online or offline, it just feels a bit useless, really. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the blooper. Next up we have the bomb, or just bomb. I'm gonna have to say C again. I think it's really cool in terms of it's clippable. You could snipe someone with this. Or if you just have it trailing behind you, again, someone could just drive into it, it'll blow them up, and that's quite useful, I suppose. But all in all, I feel like it's just a bit meh. You know, you can't really use it as like defense or anything like that. In that, like, if a shell comes at you and you have the bomb, I'm fairly sure you just get hit anyway. To be fair, I don't really know. I'm fairly sure you don't. I'm fairly sure it doesn't work as defense. And so, because of that, like I say, it's not really easy to aim as such. It's not, I don't know, it's not great. Again, it's just a C tier. I feel like it has its uses, but yeah, not amazing. I would put it above the banana, though. Again, I am actually doing like an actual tier list, but I'll show you it at the end. And basically, again, it'll be classic tier list rules where from left to right, so like anything on the left is better than the things on the right, to be clear. So keep that in mind. Anyway, next item, the Boo, straight into S tier. I'll say immediately, I've never really appreciated the Boo in Mario Kart in terms of as an item, and I don't know if it's because it was a bad item before, or if it's just I didn't play enough online or anything like that. You know, I didn't play Mario Kart 8 or 8 Deluxe online really at all. So I didn't have a Switch. I have a Switch 2 now, but I didn't have a Switch, and therefore I didn't really play much of that. So I couldn't comment on the Boo then, and then the last game that I played with it in was the DS one, and that was like, you know, you had 8 races on track, and you mostly just played offline. So just a bit whatever as an item. Or maybe it was good. I don't really know. I just don't really remember ever looking at it and thinking, yeah, that was a really good item, so to speak. But now, it is amazing. And it maybe always was. But again, like, because it gives you immunity from being hit by anything, which means you can dodge the shock from it. You can dodge pretty much anything. Like I mentioned, you can, And then on top of that, though, it also gives you a bonus item, you know, because it steals an item from another player. You know, again, usually you don't end up getting anything amazing, so to speak. Maybe it's just a single mushroom or something like that, but, like, that's still good, you know? Like, it's giving you another item on top of invisibility and immunity for, I don't know how long it is, but maybe 10 seconds or something. It's a really good item, and that's why it's going in S. The next item, though, is... It's... Right, I'm putting it in D. I'm putting it above Blooper, but, like, it's the boomerang. The reason I put it in D is not because it's an awful item. I feel like you can aim it, and it definitely has its uses. But it just lingers, to be honest. Like, it is there for longer than it needs to be. Because when you get it, I feel like you kind of roll your eyes slightly. Well, certainly I do. Because you can get it in a really low position. Like, you could be really far back, and then it gives you a boomerang, and you're just like, really? I want a boomerang. And this is going to take up my item slot, and I can't get rid of it for, like, 15 seconds or something? That is obnoxiously long for an item that isn't guaranteed to hit anyone. It can be good, again. If you're throwing it into a pack of people, it can be quite useful. But for the most part, it's just a bit whatever. You know, it's not great. And it takes too long, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm putting it in D. Again, if you disagree with any of these ratings, I entirely understand. But again, this is my opinion. Next up we have the Bullet Bill. I think I'm gonna put it in A. I think it's easy to say it's an S. You know, like I think a lot of people would probably say it's S because, you know, it's so powerful as an item, right? But I think ever since, and I think this was in Mario Kart 8, might have been 7, I don't know. But ever since they made the change to the way that items work in the game, so that you can't get certain items unless... But items are based on how far you are from first place, not the position that you're in. So, like, you could get a golden mushroom in second, for example, if first place was just that far ahead. And so, like, I feel like what the Bullet Bill's good for is closing a gap, but you're never really gonna... Well, you could, but, like, you're never really gonna win a race off of the back of a Bullet Bill, unless you're, like, in a really close race, you bagged to get a Bullet Bill, and then, like, at the last second, or, like, not the last second, but you kind of activate it at the right time, and then some good item, another second item, maybe, you know, like a golden mushroom after that to chain onto the back of it. I feel like that, you know, it's good. I'm not in any way saying it's a bad item. It's really good. It's high of A, definitely. The only reason I wouldn't put it in S is kind of just because, and I've always felt this way about Bullet Bills, is that because you don't get control of them, sometimes it will just take completely random or stupid routes, or it'll drop you in a annoying place, shall we say. And just for that alone, I am putting it in A rather than S. And so, again, maybe it's the first controversial decision to have the Boo above the Bullet Bill, but honestly, I do believe that. Next up, we have the coin block, or the question mark block, or I don't know what they're calling it. To me, that's a C, and I'm putting it below the bomb, below the banana, but because it gives you what, like, is it like 9 coins or something? It gives you a lot of coins, but I feel like coins are a bit of just a who cares addition to Mario Kart. I mean, they weren't an addition, I suppose. They were in the first Mario Kart. Then with Ian, I think they were also in Super Circuit on the Game Boy, and then they got removed, I think, up until either... Is it Mario Kart 7 or Mario Kart 8? I think it was Mario Kart 8. And they've stayed, and it's one of those things which I just don't really feel is necessary in Mario Kart. It's just a bit unnecessary. Because I think it's to do with acceleration more than anything. And yeah, like, I kind of just think it's just a bit pointless, because once you're at full speed, you're at full speed. Obviously, acceleration's important, but, like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. I've also realized I'm yapping. So I'm going to try and rush through a few of these, because I've realized there's a lot of items that I need to get through, and I am overanalyzing all of these. So, next up we have the Golden Shell, and I am going to put that at B tier. It's one which, again, you get in like a low position, and I don't particularly like getting it in a low position because it doesn't feel like it achieves a lot, and it's to do with coins, but it's a shell that doesn't break, and so it could hit a lot of people. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it, I wouldn't say. Next up we have the coin. I'm just gonna put that as C-tier. Again, it's not bad, and it's, you know, you can use it immediately, so like that's why like I'm not gonna put it in like D-tier. It doesn't take up much room. It's just one of those things that you get, and it's just a bit who cares really. So yeah, it's a C-tier item, I would say, the coin. I think he gets 2 coins, I think. I'm not really sure. Anyway, next up we have the Kamek item, which is one of the new items to the game for, well, this game. So, I mean, my thing is with this is that it's an okay item, right? It summons, like, NPCs to cause problems for everyone on the track. But it's also involved in unlocking new characters, and for that alone, I feel like it brings it down in my estimation, which is why I'm putting it in B and below the Golden Shell, another new item in this game. It's just because it annoys me. It's too difficult to get, because I feel like it's one of the rarest items to actually get. And then you yourself don't even want it, though. You want the opponents to get it so that you can unlock new characters. And then, like I say, in terms of as an item, it's fine. Like, you know, it kind of like causes some problems and can mess people up, but it's just a bit whatever. But again, I'm putting it in B just because I think it's a cool idea, and that counts for something, and it can definitely cause more problems, I feel like, than what like a bomb or a banana or anything like that could. Anyway, next up we have the feather. This one is really divisive. Is that the right word? I don't know. But yeah, people, I think, can't really decide whether it's a good item or a bad item or anything like that. People kind of roll their eyes when they get it. And I kind of roll my eyes when I get it. But I'm putting it in B because in certain situations, it is one of the best items in the game. It can get you to basically achieve shortcuts that you shouldn't be able to do. Because again, it gives you a big boost upwards. And that's all it is. And so in that sense, again, it's kind of a bit niche in terms of what it's for, but I feel like just for, again, its very niche uses, it is good, because if you don't need it, it's a bit annoying to get, because I guess you have to use it at some point, and then you're basically just wasting it and going upwards and losing momentum. But I kind of just think it's good in certain situations, and I've kind of just talked myself into putting it down to C instead of B. Yeah, I'm going to put it middle of C tier at the moment. Next up we have the Fire Flower, and I am going to pair this up with the Ice Flower because as far as I'm aware, they're the exact same thing. But I'm putting these in B tier, both of them, together, and again, like I say, no real difference. My simple reasoning as to why I'm putting these in B tier is you don't really get a lot of control over them. Like, you know, you're just firing out a bunch of fireballs or ice balls onto the track. The thing is that if you're just behind a pack of players, you can fire them rapid fire. They're one of the fastest firing items and hit multiple players all at once and mess all of them up at once. And so for that reason, I'm putting them in B tier, but then I'm also putting them not much higher than B tier, just because of the fact I think there is just better items out there that either lock on to your opponents or are more likely to cause your opponents havoc, basically. Or help you, more than anything. So yeah, putting them in B tier. The next up, we have the food item, or like the food item where you get food. I'm just putting this at the top of C tier because it's kind of just a reskinned mushroom that changes your costume for some reason. But then if the character that you're playing as doesn't have a different costume, it just sort of exists, I guess. I'm putting it at the top of C tier because I'm going to put the mushroom probably in B tier. In fact, I'll do that now. I'll put the mushroom in B tier. Because in simple terms, the single mushroom, it's good because you can use it on a shortcut, or it can speed you back up, get you to full speed immediately, easy, simple. The burger or the food or whatever it is basically does the same thing. It also transforms you, but I'm putting it in C tier just purely because it's just a bit of a pointless addition to the game, isn't it, really? So, there you go. Next up we have the hammer. I think this is the last new addition to the game. I'm looking. Yeah, I'm fairly sure it is. The hammer, I am gonna put low beta. Below the mushroom. In fact, I'm putting the mushroom above Kamek and the golden shell, to be honest. Like, anyway, the hammer's better than the golden shell, to be honest, yeah. The hammer, to me, is just... if you're going into a corner and then you fire it, it's really good at just catching opponents out because it lingers in a sense, right? You leave it and then it leaves multiple hammers in a row. The only reason I don't like it is because it's kind of similar to the boomerang in that it lingers a bit. But the reason why I like it in comparison to the boomerang is that I feel like you get it in positions where you're kind of higher up, and so you're not as annoyed about getting a bad item like the boomerang. So yeah, that's my simple thoughts on the hammer. Next up, we will talk about the golden mushroom, which I'm putting in S tier. Below the boo, though. The reason for that being is that... in fact, no. We're going to put it in A, but above the bullet bill. The reason being is that with the golden mushroom, you have control, and it's always the same amount of time each time. So you could get a golden mushroom in second, and it will last the same amount of time as what it would if you're in 24th. Whereas with a bullet bill, if you go whiz to use it in 24th and miles behind everyone, it would last a lot longer than what it would if you were to use it in second, about a second behind first place. And so in that sense, it's a more rewarding item. You can use it and use it for the same amount of time, no matter what. And it's diverse, right, in its uses. If you were to be in first, you could dodge a blue shell with it. You can use it on multiple shortcuts because, again, it's a never-ending... well, not never-ending. It's a mushroom that you can use infinitely for a period of time. And so, yeah. Putting in A, high A, though. Or do I put it in S? We'll see. I'm putting it in A for now. Next up, we have the single green shell, which I think is right at home just above the banana. In fact, above the bomb, above the burger, but top of C tier. My simple reason for that is that it's good for sniping people, it's good for defense, but it's like, you know, they're pretty inaccurate, really. Like, it's fun to try and snipe someone with green shell, and, you know, I've had several good attempts of doing that, but I've also several times just had a single green shell and kind of just had it there as defense, and then someone throws a red shell and it just, you know, it blocks it, and it is what it is. So yeah, single green shell, C tier item. Next up, we have the lightning bolt, straight into S and the top of S. I would probably say it is the best item in the game. I don't know if that's controversial. I don't think it is. But yeah, the reason I put it in S is because I don't know if I have a clip of this in this video. If I do, I will try and put it in now, but I don't know. I don't think I will. I'll just let it play through. But the lightning bolt is a really, really good item because it shrinks everyone, right? And slows everyone down a hell of a lot. Now, it's not as good as it was in previous games in that people don't stay small for as long, but I feel like the initial shock is way more impactful than what it ever has been. And that's saying something. When you get struck by lightning now, it basically brings everyone to a complete halt. And that is huge in that if it's like a relatively tight race, maybe you're 17th, but you've got pretty much everyone up until 3rd place within like about 5 seconds of you, you use that lightning, you're in 3rd place. Like, it's as simple as that. And so, for that reason alone, it's an incredible item. And as well, the only thing I will say is that I feel like, I think in this game, there can be multiple shocks in play at once. Whereas in previous Mario Kart games, you could only get a shock, and then if you had the shock, you could be certain that no one else could use it. And that's kind of like an important thing, because for as long as no one else could use it, you could then sneak another item up, I suppose, into a higher position, and then use it in a higher position, and then have this other item to basically just combo into basically getting a free win. In this case, I don't think that the shock is actually one and done. Like, multiple people could have it in theory, I think, in this one, and for that reason, it's not as impactful, but still, it is by far S tier. Anyway, next up we have the Mega Mushroom. I'm putting that in A tier below the bullet. My simple reasoning is, I just love the Mega Mushroom. I don't really have to say a lot more than that. I just always loved it in Mario Kart Wii. I love it now. I don't think it's amazing, but it lets you off-road, it lets you flatten people, and that's fun. So, I'm putting it in A. I don't feel a need to justify myself beyond this. Yeah. Single red shell is gonna go top of B tier for now. It locks into other players. It's, again, it's good defense, but it's also good offense. I don't feel like I need to elaborate much beyond that. Next up, blue shell. I will put above the Mega Mushroom, but not above the Bullet Bill. My reasoning for this is just, I think ever since Mario Kart 8, or was it Mario Kart 7? When they started to allow the blue shell to go across the floor and hit other people on its way to first place, it made it a very useful item for whatever position you're in, because it could hit multiple people, but it also will guaranteed hit first place. And so you're guaranteed to mess up at least one person, but you have the potential for multiple. Next up we have the star, which I'm gonna put into S or A. I'm gonna put it in S below the boo. In fact, no. Yeah, above, below the boo. The reason why I'm putting this below boo is that it has the major advantage of the boo, in that the boo gets immunity, right? From, like, the shock, it has immunity from everything. The star is similar to that, and it also means that you can drive through other people and cause them to get hit. So in that case, it's better than the boo. But the boo also steals another item, and I feel like that can be quite useful, especially in the high up position that you can get a boo in. Whereas the star, you kind of have to be quite far back to actually get a star. And so that's why I'm putting it in S, but not above the boo. Next up, we have the boombox, which I'm gonna put in C tier below the banana. It's just too situational in the same way that I feel like the feather is. I'll put the feather above it, actually. No. Yes. No. I'm keeping the feather below. But I think the boombox, it's just too situational. You know, it's good for stopping a blue shell. It's good for stopping, in theory, anything. But for the most part, if you get one, you're kind of just rolling your eyes, thinking like, yeah, whatever. Like, I could have got a better item there. Triple bananas. I'm gonna put into middle of B tier. in that they're just a very good defense mechanism. They're not really much more than that, but yeah, like, they're better than one banana. As, again, it's free hits, right? So if someone has 3 red shells, for example, you are immune from them, I think? Then again, I feel like with now how triple bananas are, and how red shells are, maybe you're not immune, because I feel like now that they orbit around your car rather than trailing your car, yeah, I don't know, but I'm putting them in B tier. I might be wrong on that, but I feel like they're still a good defense mechanism. In the same way that I'm going to put, again, the green shells right next to them, actually above the mushroom, so the mushroom will separate them. But yeah, the green shells will go above the mushroom into B tier, because they're just a solid defense mechanism while also being okay offense. Like, again, they can be something that can be spammed in a similar way to the Fire Flower and Ice Flower. So that's why they go there. Triple mushrooms, I'm going to put above the Mega Mushroom, below the blue shell in A tier. My reasoning being, they're just good. You know, like, similar to the golden mushroom in that I feel like the golden mushroom has to go into S tier if triple mushrooms are A tier. And that's because of the fact, again, just the triple mushrooms, they're very good. They basically allow you to do 3 different shortcuts, or one, like, really big shortcut, or one moderate shortcut and one short shortcut. Does that make sense? I don't know, but, again, they're just a useful item, I think it's fair to say. So, we're going to put them there. Final item is the triple red shells. I'm going to put them above the blue shell, below the bullet bill, in A tier, because it's 3 guaranteed hits on 3 different players. And that is really useful. And it's great defense, obviously. But I feel like, again, the items above it are just that bit better. And that's why I'm putting them there. But yeah, that will be everything. I feel like this video is really long. It's probably my longest video I've ever done. So that's great. But yeah, I'll now show the image, hopefully, of the tier list. That's the tier list. Let me know if you agree, disagree, or anything like that. I feel like it's a pretty balanced list. Again, D tier just kind of having... Yeah, you could remove both them, like the boomerang and the blooper, and I would not care, to be honest. But yeah, that's everything. Thank you for watching. Bye.